Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Collector's Edition Ragman. Not only that, but this is the Platinum Chase variant in the darker suit. I'm on the quest to get all the Platinum Chase figures, so one step closer. Want to give a huge shout out to my boy Chuck from Instagram. He messaged me, said he heard I was looking for this, said he ordered from Amazon, preferred the regular one, and I bought this from him and he could try again. Everyone's a winner. I appreciate it, big time. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane toys. McFarlane Collector's Edition, DC Multiverse Ragman, McFarlane Platinum Edition. Here he is in the package. We have a display stand, a collector's card, display stand for the collector's card, cloth soft goods hood and cape, and then these two sort of energy effects. McFarlane Collector's Edition, Ragman from Shadowpact. This is the 19th figure in the Collector's Edition subline, the Platinum version. Ragman. Here he is on the back. And at the bottom, there is the barcode, but keep in mind it's going to be the same barcode as the regular version. So with no further ado, let's open him up. So before we take a look at the figure, let's talk about Ragman for a second. Originally, Ragman is a Vietnam War veteran and is a sole survivor in an attack against his father and friends, and he gains their skills and strengths. Wearing a costume that his father made out of rags, he uses these abilities to protect his neighborhood. He's usually from a poor area, ghetto, and Gotham City. They revive his origin, making him a Jewish person that tears his mystical suit of souls, worn by his father and killed by criminals. Worn by many other champions over centuries, he's called the Suit of Souls and absorbs people's souls, takes their skills, their strengths, their powers, and adds them to him, and each time he adds one, it gives another patch onto his suit. Ragman. He's typically from a poor area of Gotham City. He's not exactly a Batman character, but I definitely consider him a Batman-related character. He's had many crossovers with Batman over the years, and a lot of his stories take place in Gotham City. Here's a look at all of my different Ragman comics, different miniseries, one-shots, and team-ups. Here's the first series of Ragman comics. This was from 1976, and it was a 5-issue miniseries. Here's the second Ragman series. This was in 1991, and is a 6-issue miniseries. Then we have the next Ragman series. This is in 1993. It's a 6-issue miniseries called Ragman, Cry of the Dead. It's been a long time later since Ragman had his own little title. There was a one-shot called Ragman Suit of Souls. This was in 2010. And then here is Shadowpact. This is sort of a team-up comic. Ragman is part of that group. This one came out in 2006 and has 25 issues. I'm actually missing one of them. And the most recent Ragman series was from 2017. This is another 6-issue miniseries. I believe this is a series that the darker Platinum Chase variant is supposed to be based off of. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have a display stand, collector's card, display stand for the collector's card, and these two little sort of weird rag or energy effects. Before we deload all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Ragman, and he's in a much darker color scheme than the regular version. I much prefer the regular version because that's how he appears in 90% of his appearances, but in more recent comics he has looked like this. It sort of makes sense. Let's take a closer look at him. It's a very thin body. I believe it's the John Kent or ambush bug type body. He's got sort of glowing eyes, mostly black. It doesn't really have the same sort of rag effects, almost like it's sort of supposed to be rips or something. The same sort of long cloth bow tie here. His cape is tattered up, and it does have bendy wire on the other side. The hood is separate from the cape, allowing you to turn him no problem. It also has a bendy wire in the front there. You want it to kind of have that little point at the top. Looks like I'll have to do some fixing of that. Like I said, very thin body, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. I definitely prefer the normal looking Ragman, but I'm really happy to have both versions in the collection. Who would have thought the first Ragman figure they ever made since the character came out back in like the 70s, and they made two different variations? That is awesome. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. This with the hood down. It's a pretty basic head, almost all smooth, just black, with those glowing eyes. And then here, with the hood up. So I've had the regular version of Ragman for well over a month, and he has these very long sort of strings tied in a little bow tie, giant, kind of dumb looking bow tie. And I remember being concerned they were going to come untied, then I'm just going to have these long strings dangling there. And that's actually happened to me a few different times, just tying back sort of like some shoelaces, and it looks exactly the same. Not a big deal, nothing to worry about there. Now let's check out his accessories. Starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane display stand, but because it's the collector's edition, has a silver DC at the bottom. Here's the collector's card. As you can see, it's sort of a replica of the cover of that Ragman one-shot. McFarlane Collector's Edition. On the back side there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. And it doesn't do much for me, but if you want to display the collector's card next to your figure, you have a stand to do so. And the collector's card is exactly the same as the one that came with the regular Ragman. Not very little accessories. I don't really know how to explain what these are. It's some sort of energy effect, but a Ragman, it's like he shoots little sort of cloth rags at people, but they're alive. It's hard to explain. Maybe it's part of his cape, maybe it's just little sort of dangly material, but it's combined with his energy. Even the sort of strings on his outfit can sometimes sort of stretch out and grab people. It's made in a semi-transparent plastic. These are mostly black. The other guys are kind of green, matching him, but it's, I don't know, it's like he can throw little rags right around you and pull them toward you. It's kind of cool. It's his thing. It's also kind of dumb. Here's a look at Ragman with one of those energy effects. They can be kind of hard to put on his arm and not just sort of limp and loose. There's a little piece here, and it looks like it should sort of hook into a piece on his arm, but there's no slot there. If you just get it to sort of sit just right up top, it kind of holds into place. And here he is, utilizing both the energy effects. They definitely could have done a better job making them a little tighter and to fit snug around the arms. They're pretty hard to make look good on display like this. Now I wanted to check out the differences and similarities between the Platinum version of Ragman and the regular release. And they're 100% the same figure, same sculpt, same articulation, just a different paint job. So let's take a look. This is the traditional look for Ragman. Green color scheme with rags tattered all over his outfit. Now they are 100% the same figure. Eyes look to be maybe a little bit more glowing on him. His outfit is totally black, and it has what looks like could be energy or rips. It doesn't really look like rags on this guy. His, honestly, don't really look like rags either, but I understand what they were going for. The same sort of tattered up cape, and I actually really do like the cape. I think it comes out pretty nice. Everything else is exactly the same. You can see they still have that really dumb sort of sculpted ankle thing that started with the John Kent Superman. My God, smooth that out, McFarlane. Now I wanted to check out the differences between Ragman and the original John Kent. He's probably more similar to Ambush Bug, but I believe this body debuted with the John Kent Superman. So, their heads, obviously they're different, but they're pretty similar. He's got a pretty smooth head, so does he. I'd say the chest, the arms, the hands, the diaper, the legs are 100% the same, except for he has that, and it's really hard to see it on the black, but that sculpted piece that originated with the John Kent Superman, and they actually used something different for Ambush Bug, which would have been way more appropriate for Ragman. The piece I'm talking about is where that red thing is. You can kind of see it on Ragman here, but it's like they have better pieces to reuse and it won't cost them anything else because they've already made them. So sometimes it boggles me the weird things they do. Here are all the different McFarlane DC figures that utilize the same John Kent base body. Currently 12 of them, and I'm sure there'll be more in the future. Now they've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories. Let's check out his height. From bottom to the very top of his hood, I'd say about 7.4 inches tall. And if you go to the top of his head, it's going to be probably about 6.8 inches tall, which can translate to a little bit over 17 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, and I appreciate that the hood and cape are separate pieces so you can still turn the head and stuff. His head can rotate side to side. It can look up about that far, down about that much, not bad. Tilt his head from one side to the other. I'll have to fix and tuck in the bottom of the hood, make it look better. Shoulders on ball joint goes out about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, you can see it, or hear it rather, squeaking. It's not really tight though. He's got this butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increase the range of motion, and cover the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged. He's got a ball joint in his torso, rotate around, not forward and back much, another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back, between the two, good range of motion, you get much more out of the waist and the torso in this guy. Legs, completely does the splits, McFarlane style hip joints, rotation is non-existent, legs go forward about that far, back not much, double jointed knees, and then his ankles, forward and back, rotate, tilt rock, and of course, toe articulation. Here's a look at the original Ragman in an alleyway of Gotham. Here's that same Ragman 10 years later, different costume, same alleyway. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Ragman figures. Here's the Platinum Chase variant of Ragman in the darker outfit, next to the traditional version with the green and patches all over him. Really happy they made this figure. And like I said, Ragman is not exactly a Batman character, but he has some strong ties to Batman, strong ties to Gotham City. I do consider him sort of a loose Batman character, a Batman ally. He's not a member of the Bat family, but he operates in Gotham City quite a bit, and he's probably crossed over with Batman or encountered him well over 10 times. Here he is, next to a bunch of different McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. And here's Ragman, next to several other McFarlane DC figures that have strong ties to Gotham City or Batman. The Demon Etrigan, Deadman, The Question, and Jonah Hex, at least ever since the New 52. Here are a couple of DC characters that have strong ties to Gotham and Batman. These guys are just screaming for McFarlane to make figures of them. The Vigilante and the Creeper. So here's the McFarlane Collector's Edition Wave 1. Every single Collector's Edition figure has a Platinum Chase variant. Here are both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the first appearance Superman, the Abyss, and Alan Scott Green Lantern. And here's the second wave of Collector's Edition figures, both regular and Platinum versions of Firestorm, Hawkman, and Sinestro. Then, the third wave of Collector's Edition figures, we have the Death and Return of Superman, Captain Carrot, Batman as Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman. Here's the fourth wave. This wave consisted of Penguin, Starfire, and Captain Boomerang. And here's the fifth wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Sergeant Rock, Connor Kent Superboy, and Manga Batman. And here's the sixth wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, Red Hood, Clock King, Ragman, and Agent Liberty. Finally, one step closer to completing the entire wave, Clock King, or Dr. Time, is the only one that I need still, at least to be out of the package, and he's the one I wanted the most from the beginning. Of course, he's the one that's going to be the hardest to track down for me. And finally, the seventh wave of Collector's Edition figures, Battle Damaged Batman from The Dark Knight Returns, New 52 Huntress, and a couple Green Lantern Corps members, Tomar Ray and Emmett Sewer. And since this Cyborg Superman is a Platinum Chase variant, I wanted to take a look at all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Platinum Chase variants out there. Here are all the sort of older Platinum Chase variants. Gold, bronze, unpainted, and then some newer versions. Then here are the more modern Platinum Chase variants. I have quite a few of them, but they keep making more, and it's a very slow, long journey to get them all. I have Ragman to add to this picture. Here's a list of all the Platinum Chase variants that I'm still looking for. 1 Collector's Edition Red Hood, 1 Collector's Edition Ragman, 2 Collector's Edition Clock King, 2 Collector's Edition Dark Knight Returns Batman, 2 Huntress, 2 Green Lantern Corps, 1 Jonah Hex with Horse, 2 of the Page Puncher Damian Wayne, 2 of the Page Puncher Deathstroke, and Effigy. And I'm sure before I even get all those, there'll be even more to look for. Now let's check them out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the Dawn of the DC Red Hood, and the DC Rebirth Cyborg. Here's Ragman, next to the most recent Platinum Wave, Shiny Knight and The Question, still looking for Effigy. And here he is, next to the most recent Page Puncher Wave, Damian Wayne Robin, and Rebirth Deathstroke. Then, next to McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, Jonah Hex. And now, next to Michael Go Alfred that came with the Batman Forever Batmobile, and the GameStop exclusive Frostbite Deathstroke. Here's Ragman, next to the Batman Forever Wave, Collector Build of Nightmare Bat. And here he is, next to the previous Platinum Wave, Bullseye Batman, Hugo Strange's Batman, Batman Begins Lucius Fox, and the Flash movie Batfleck. Then, next to the most recent Batman Wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of the Batman Reborn Dick Grayson Batman, the Adam West Batman, and the world's finest fusion Batman Superman. And now, with the Walmart exclusive gold label Vampire Shazam and Max Mercury. And finally, next to the DC Classics Darkseid Mega figure. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and Diamond Select toys, here's Ragman next to a styrofoam cup, and here he is with some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures, and now with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a pretty cool Ragman figure. I was so stoked they were making a Ragman figure, and to get him in 2 different costumes is just amazing. Now, the body looks a little wimpy, it's kind of puny, and I much prefer the regular classic version of Ragman to this Platinum version, but I'm happy to have them both. These accessories, the energy effects, I think they look much better on the original version. Sculpt and paint job, kind of bland. Articulation, everything you expect. If I were to rate this guy, probably going to give him a 6 out of 10. The regular one, I'd probably give him a 7.5 in retrospect. And maybe it's an inflated rating, but I really like the fact they made a Ragman figure. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you real soon.